Just the other day, I thought I heard you cry. You've been looking around, feeling down.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Woolly Jenny podcast. I am your host, Jen, and this is my podcast about knitting, crocheting, spinning, sewing, and all of the other crafty things that I enjoy doing. You can find me on Instagram as @WoollyJenny, and you can also join my Ravelry podcast group. In the groups tab, you just have to search Woolly Jenny Podcast. So I wanted to say a big thank you to all of the new viewers and new subscribers. I can't believe that over 250 of you care about what my next video would be. So that's exciting and fun for me. I'm really enjoying podcasting. It's keeping me accountable to all the different projects I have going, and just it's fun to be able to share what you're working on with the world at large. So it's been a pretty busy month, the month of half July, half August. I'm drinking bubble tea today because bubble tea and it's hot out and yum. Most of the kids have gone to summer camp. No, that's not true. Half the kids have gone to their summer Bible camps that they usually go to. And the two youngest will be going to a day camp next week. And while the older two were at their camps, the younger two and I went and stayed out with my mom at her lake lot in her trailer with my mom and my stepdad. And so that was really nice to be out of town for a few days and enjoy that together. We are in baseball playoffs right now, which is really exciting. Our local team, the Edmonton Prospects, just advanced to the final championship round for their whole league. My oldest son, Eli, who's 14, is one of their bat boys, so we get to go to a lot of games and we like to follow along closely. So that's really exciting. Hockey season has started back up. If you follow me on Instagram, you'll have seen that I've been in the rink already a few times, and it's really going to kick into high gear next week. So it's good and it's bad. Sometimes I have a hard time knitting at hockey because I get so into the game and watching my son Silas, who's 9. I should probably preface that. My son Silas, who is 9, plays goalie. And so, yeah, I find it really hard to knit well because he's always on the ice. There's always something happening and I want to watch. I get excited. So it's sometimes hard to knit, and I always bring it with me, but I don't always actually accomplish anything. So we'll see how much I get done in the next month or so here with tryouts and conditioning camps and all the things that go along with the beginning of hockey season. Yeah, and we've got a few more weeks left until school starts. So we're just sort of trying to make the best of the rest of our summer and stay cool. My air conditioner's on, and I'm hoping that I can just dub out the sound afterwards. But if there's sort of a fan in the background, I apologize. We don't have central air in our house. We just have a portable air conditioner that's in the living room below me. So actually in my house right now, this crafty space that I have is sort of a loft. We have a 2-story that half of it looks like a vaulted ceiling into the dining room, living room, which is right below me. And it's the hottest room in the house. So that's where we keep the air conditioner and try to bring some cool air up. And I get in trouble if I turn it off. So hopefully it'll all work out. I got honeydew flavor this time. It's so good. So, very exciting giveaway business. So I had 51 entries into my Kettle Valley giveaway. So last episode, we had dyed up some yarn for the ladies of Knox Mountain Knit Company, Sasha and Willow, and we had dedicated some colorways to them and put together a kit to make the Kettle Valley shawl, which is one of their beautiful triangular shawls in a worsted weight. Our yarn is DK but I knit the pattern out and found that it works perfectly with DK without an issue. So we were offering a giveaway for one of those kits, and I will draw a winner live right here at you. I'm just going to find a random number generator. And I'm going to put a number between 2 and 52 because the first comment is always mine about the giveaway. And I'm going to tell it to generate the number. Ta-da! The number is 49. Let's see who it is. Number 49, you are Tinks Kansik? Yep, Tinks Kansik, Amy Rose. So congrats, Amy Rose. She is in the United Kingdom, so that's fun. Thanks for following all the way overseas. That's exciting for me. So be in touch with me and I'll be in touch with you, and we'll work out if you would like the willow colorway or the Sasha colorway, and I will send that yarn and also a hard copy of the pattern off to you. So the ladies at Knox Mountain donated a Kettle Valley pattern, a hard copy for you. So I will send that off to you. And I was talking to the girls about how excited I was that we got all these entries, and so they decided, and we decided, that they would send me one extra pattern. And so I'm going to press the generate number thing again, and I'm going to send this next person just the Kettle Valley pattern so that you can go ahead and knit that with your own yarns. So that is number 45. And number 45, this thing likes the 40s today apparently. Number 45 is JH Knittin', who is Julie in Washington. So thank you, Julie, for watching and entering the giveaway, and I'm going to send you the hard copy of the Kettle Valley pattern. So thanks again to Knox Mountain Knit Company. It was really fun to collaborate with those ladies and to interview them and hang out with them last month, and I'm already missing my Okanagan life and those girls. And yeah, you can go and meet them at Knit City if you are a West Coaster or someone that likes to travel, because Knit City is definitely worth traveling for. That is a yarn market and workshops and all this stuff going on in Vancouver, BC, Canada in the first week in October, I believe. So they will have a booth there, and they'll have all the different hard copies of their designs as well as samples, and they're doing some really awesome and exciting cooperative, the word, cooperative, it works, with Gauge Dye Works, which used to be Caterpillar Green, and with Riv Creative. They're going to have some Riv Creative stuff there, and yeah, so lots of exciting stuff to see at Knit City. So make sure if you can be there, you should be there. I found flights the other day for 150 Canadian dollars, which is stinking cheap. So I don't know yet if I can still do that. There's still lots to figure out between now and then, but sigh. Have fun at Knit City, people, in case I can't be there. So moving on. My finished objects for this month are basically nothing. At the very end of the last episode, I inserted a little bit about the Kettle Valley shawl because I had finished knitting it after the episode was recorded. So I can show you, you've seen pictures if you follow along, but I can show you the live and in-person Kettle Valley shawl. This is in the Sasha colorway. She's so pretty. So lots of beautiful stitch definition on this, and it's going to be I still haven't decided. I knit it with someone in mind, but you know, maybe you don't know how you do this, because maybe I'm the only one that does this. But I knit it and with someone in mind, and then I finished it, and I was like, but I really love it. So I don't know if I'm actually going to give it to that person. I need to decide how selfish is my heart today and tomorrow and all the days until I just start wearing it this fall and never actually give it away. But yeah. It's so pretty. Anyway, so that is the finished Kettle Valley. And I had mentioned about with a DK yarn and just not being sure if this Mechanics Wrench colorway, which is this bad boy, looks a little bit lighter on the screen than it actually is, but that's okay, would be enough, because there's a bit more of that. So this is what I had left. Tiniest little yarn barf. So that was a disclaimer that I had put out there. If you're not sure about yardage and you don't like playing yarn chicken, I suggest buying 2. That's Penny. She gets excited when people are around. And yeah, haven't trained her out of that yet. And then I had 2 balls left. This is Nail Text File, and this is the rest of Sasha here. So there was a little bit left anyways. I'm not sure if it's really enough to do much with. I have not weighed it yet, so I'm not even sure what the weight was that I have left. After I finished the Kettle Valley shawl, I basically knit on it endlessly for like 12 hours a day for about 3 days. Penny, you're a bad dog. Come here. Hey, what are you doing? Barking. Mom. Yes. Yeah. Hey, how? After knitting all of that on the Kettle Valley shawl, I hurt my wrist, and I have carpal tunnel. I've had it for years, and it's not bad enough to need surgery at this point or anything like that. But I do just try to be careful. I try to give myself breaks as I knit. I try to stretch, and I didn't do that for myself this time. I was just really trying to power through, because I wanted to have it done before I listed the yarns for sale, because I wanted to be sure about that Mechanics Wrench color. I didn't want to sell something that, oh, you ran out? Shoot. That wouldn't be very nice of me. So I stopped knitting for a few days. It was really, really hard. And I took some time to do a few things, like weaving in the ends of about 100 of these little squares from the crochet blanket that I'm working on. So there was 2 strings on each of them, and I was shocked at how many hours I spent just weaving in ends. I did not think it would be that big of a job. So now, as I'm finishing the blanket and knitting those, I'm weaving in the ends as I go, and I would highly recommend that to anybody who's doing a square type project like that. Weave in your ends as you go. It makes it seem like such a less tedious job. It was killing me having to do that. I also wove in the ends of that baby blanket that I showed in episode 1. That's like, oh, you know, like 4 or 5 months late, maybe even 6 by now, of the baby who was born that I knit it for. So that's ready to give to Silas's goalie coach. I'm sure I will see him soon, and we'll give it to him. I unraveled a shawl that I had languishing around. This is some formerly Caterpillar Green Dye Works, now Gauge Dye Works. I had bought this at Knit City last year, and I don't remember the name of the colorway. It's for the pie shawl, and it's got like purple. It's self-striping shawl, and so I didn't really like the pie shawl shape, and I thought I maybe wanted to knit a shawl for my daughter, and got going on something that I just sort of was making up as I went along, sort of a hybrid of a few different patterns I had done, and then forgot what I was doing and forgot everything about it because I didn't take any notes, because I'm not a designer and I don't always use my brain. So I ended up just needing to frog it entirely. So that was something, I could still touch yarn without knitting, and that was my thought process behind that. So I went through and found that. And then after I got bored and still had nothing else to do and still felt like I really shouldn't be knitting yet, I decided to do some embroidery, some stitching. So I created some designs on graph paper. You'll be able to see those. I just used a ruler and sort of looked at some artwork and some different things and made up my own thing freehand with a ruler and graph paper. So I made a flamingo and a llama, and I think Ben, my 6-year-old, added to that for me. And then I did some succulents, and I also did a pineapple, but I haven't stitched that one yet, so it hasn't been outlined in marker or anything yet. Here is the final. Here is the final stitching. So here's my llama. I made him some, oh, they're sticking up. I made him some little gold embroidery thread tassels for his blanket. And here's my succulents. I gave them some sequins and some sparkly thread as well. Here on the dots on here, this is a gold. Camera. There we go. My camera's having difficulty. And then I am going to make those into project bags, so they have like my project bag interfacing on the back of them. And the first design, the flamingo, I did make into a project bag already. There she is. And I used a few different strands of pink because I wanted it to have some depth of color. And one of the strands is like a sparkly pink. I don't know if you'll be able to see that. Anyways. And then I used a black canvas on the bottom and I waxed it, although I fully regret that and I wish I would have made it with leather on the bottom. Just the, like, I don't know, something with the flamingo just demands something a little more sassy like leather. And then I just put the inside with a black and white chevron that I had. Bubble tea is really not the best podcast drink. It requires too much chewing. After I finished doing the stitching and making the project bags, I decided to start crocheting again because the problem was with my left wrist and I crochet with my right hand, so I just have to hold a little less wrist movement. And when I had gone to the Calgary Fiber Shindig, I had picked up this cute book called Crochet Wildlife, The Crochet Wildlife Guide by Philip Ha and Jeff Weller. And it's so cute. Look at this little sloth. So Ben, who's 6, I kind of picked it up with him in mind. He really loves his stuffies. So I had bought that and planned to make him a little jungle of animals. Such cute photography too. So when I bought the pattern book, they also gave me a hard copy of their penguin pattern, which wasn't included in the book, but they had it as well. And here he is. He's looking a little bit to the right, which I think is so funny. And I'm not sure about why this blackness happened there, but it's just a softie for Ben. I'm not that fussy. He's so cute. So Ben really loves him. He's been walking around with him and taking him everywhere for a good week or two since I made him for him. And that was it for my finished objects. A crochet penguin. But since my wrist has been better, I'm in a cast on all the things mood, and I am ready to cast on all the things. So let's move to works in progress. While my wrist was bugging me, I also tried drop spindling again to see if I could do that without too much discomfort. I did manage to add to this spindle. It was quite a bit thinner the first time I showed it in my first podcast. So I added a bit there, and I found the big braid with 3 Waters Farm tag on it, and I thought I would just show that really quickly. So that's getting pretty full. I don't know that I'm going to add, just because it gets really heavy. It pulls, I'm finding because I'm doing such a thin ply, it's splitting a lot and breaking off, and then I have to start the new piece again. So I think I'm going to wind this off into a ball and then start the next bit on the blank, and then I'll be able to ply it later by spinning it together in the opposite direction. Probably just going to do a 2-ply on that one. That was all I did for spinning. I still have not used that new spindle that I have that's upside down right there. Probably once hockey season starts, like NHL hockey season, I'll be inspired to start working on that Oilers colorways I had got from Alliston. Her last name is failing me. Of Alberta Yarn Project. She does some really beautiful bats, and I had shown that one in my first podcast, and so that's what's going to go on that spindle when I feel inspired. Right now, I'm in the knitting mood, but I do have a shocker for you. I had projects with deadlines that I set for myself based on them being gifts. Because when I have a deadline like the Kettle Valley where it needed to be done for business, or a deadline like a test knit where someone's expecting me to complete something, I always make those deadlines. But for some reason, when it's a gift, I feel like, oh, I could just give it to them whenever. Case in point, the baby blanket that still is sitting on my coffee table in the family room. The wedding blanket is not done. Which I've been referencing already, those crocheted squares. They are having a reception in Edmonton, I think, second week in September. So let's all just do a little bit of this and a little bit of crochet mojo for Jen, that I'm going to finish that for the party. I need to. But I'm not inspired to work on it, which makes it so much worse, because all I want to do right now is knit. I also had a pair of birthday socks on the needles for Eli, whose birthday was July 20th. Today is August 12th. 11th? 12th. Today is August 12th. Happy anniversary, Mom and Mark. It's their wedding anniversary. The sock is longer. Decided to go with an afterthought heel. I was originally going to do a heel flap and gusset, and then I chickened out and decided I don't like a heel flap and gusset, and I want to do a contrasting heel and toe, and it just doesn't look the same when it's not some sort of short row or afterthought heel. The heel flap and gusset in a contrast I just find is fine, but to me it just doesn't have that same crisp change look. So I decided to go with the afterthought heel. So I don't like to cut my knitting, so I put in waste yarn. And I'm working up the leg now. I'm probably going to go another inch or so, and then I'm going to use the contrasting for the cuff at the top. And then I'll do sock number 2. And, you know, maybe he'll have them for, like, next birthday. No, I hope he has them sooner. But they just haven't been my priority. But they are an easy take to hockey knit, so I'm sure that I will finish them sooner than later within the next month or so. Hopefully they will be an FO for my next show, because clearly my sock blockers are lonely and need something. Although those socks are like a men's size 10 or so, so these are like a medium sock blocker that fit my daughter's socks, who's like a lady 6. That's fine though. I'm good with that. So those are being knit. I guess I should talk about the project a little bit, although I feel like it's kind of ad nauseum because I'm sure I've talked about them at least once or twice already. But these are my little Gu 2.5mm 9-inch circulars, bamboo. That's how I've been knitting them. I use DPNs for the toe. I'll use DPNs for the heel. That's the word. And they're in the bag that I like to show off with all my pins. And this is just a bag I made for myself with wax canvas on the bottom and my Knox Mountain pins and my little old lady knitting bestie pin and a few others. Also, my crochet blanket, I've made some really great progress. I only have 3 more colors left to finish. One of the colors, though, needs like 23 squares still, but the other 2 need only like 10 or so. So, shouldn't be too bad. I've made some really good progress on my llama sweater, my Heartstone by Isolde Teague. I've talked about this for 2 episodes now. Don't get sick of me. But it is almost a real sweater soon. So it needs like maybe, I want to say like maybe 4 more inches before it's ready for the, yeah, it's probably like about there or something. So it just needs a few more inches. And yeah, I love it. It's so soft. I cannot wait to wear. I'm going to wear this every dang day in this winter. I can't even. Ugh, I can't believe I just said that. But yeah, this is my little pizza progress keeper that I made myself. Something just fell over behind me. Oops. If only you could see everything that's around me. I'm in this crowded mess of crazy, which is my life and my craft space. And I like basically part the waters to get to sit in here like this for my podcast. So it is not shocking that something just fell over behind me. Not at all. I would stop drinking this, but it's melting. And nobody likes melted bubble tea. You wouldn't want that to happen to me. So many bubbles. I'm the worst host. Sorry. Not sorry. I haven't officially casted this on, so I don't know if you can consider it a work in progress. But I did do a legit gauge swatch, which has never been done before. I have gauge swatched in the sense of I've knit up so many stitches in so many rows and, you know, sort of not stretched it out, but measured it, or like I've done like a fraction thing, you know, oh, it's so many stitches per inch, and I've just sort of knitted up something where I can measure an inch and be like, yeah, I'm good. But this one, because the pattern calls for DK and I'm using Cascade 220, which is a little bit more of a worsted weight, the colorway is not showing up exactly as it is, but I did show this in Yarn Babies. I did show this in Yarn Babies on my last episode. So I gauge swatched. I had a little bit of trouble getting gauge. I had to go down a needle size, probably just because the yarn's a little bit thicker than what the pattern calls for. But I'm really happy with the fabric of it. I think it looks really good. I like the tight stitching. I think this is a sweater vest. I just started talking about like you know what I'm talking about. This is a sweater vest I'm making for my father-in-law. His birthday was in March, and we had given him a coupon book for all the family, kids and grandkids and everything, had given him a coupon book of something that we could do for him. And so he loves to wear sweater vests, and he loves a good hardy wool. So I told him that I would make him a sweater vest, and so he requested a blue that would sort of go with any blue, and I thought this was a good choice. It's kind of reminds me a little bit of a denim color, and with the heathered look to it, it'll go really well with any kind of blue. But when I bought it, the yarn shop only had 5 skeins left, and his measurement just is right there on that edge of 5 skeins, and I wanted to make it just a little bit longer for him than his size in the pattern calls for. So I was worried. I don't think I would run out. If I did it in full, I have 70 extra yards to go that extra 1.5 to 2 inches. And I don't think that it would go over. But I'm nervous about that, and I don't want to play yarn chicken and get all the way to the end of a men's like XL sweater vest and realize that that I don't have enough left, because then I'm ripping way back. So I went today to Pam's Woolly Shop and I got this gray color. It's just beautiful light gray. I think it's going to go really well with that. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some stripes into the chest, about an inch, probably about an inch width in the stripe, and then I'm not sure if I'm going to do equal stripes or if I'm going to do like an inch and then half an inch, or maybe like 5 rows and 2 rows, 5 rows and 2 rows, or how exactly. I haven't quite worked out in my mind exactly what I'm going to do, but I went to get that today, and since I need the same size needles as another project I'm working on, and I only have one set of them in my Knit Picks interchangeable, so ChiaoGoo is my jam. But I don't have a ChiaoGoo interchangeable set yet. It's on my wish list, so I just went and grabbed the ChiaoGoo needles. So this is a 375 in the red lace with the pointy tips, and US size 5. I always go by millimeters because I forget what it equals, but it's a 3.75 millimeters US size 5. So, and I got a 40-inch cable because his chest around is about 49, and I'm hoping I think it'll work good. Yeah. So for now, that's going to be in my Ginger Snap bag until it outgrows it, which I'm sure will happen soon enough. It's not the hugest bag ever. So that I'm probably going to cast on like tonight when I'm done recording this and watching Netflix later on. This is the thing I'm most excited about that I have cast on since the last episode. I have been talking for a while about needing to do a fade project. And I'd been pulling out some yarns, and my daughter Rachel, who's 11 and a half, saw these and was like, oh, I had to have them. So this is Yarn Inc. Neverland. It is her classic sock, 75-25 superwash merino nylon. And this is my yarn company, Boss Lady Yarn Company. This is our colorway Chelsea, although this was the first one we ever dyed. I kept it for myself, and so the established colorway that we repeat is slightly different from this, but not very much at all. And there's the wrap from that one, and it's the same base. It's we call it Like a Boss, and it's 75-25 superwash merino nylon. And then we fade into this. This is Starling by Hugh Loco. And this is her spun sock, which is 80-10-10 superwash merino cashmere nylon. And the last color is this one. This is Hedgehog Fibers. This was from their sock club this spring that I did, and this is their twist sock, which is 80-20 BFL nylon. This one, because of the BFL, is just a little bit scratchier, so it's just going right at the bottom for the last few inches. And I decided to do the sew faded sweater. However, I am doing the sew faded technique with the flax light pattern. I really like the flax pattern. I find it really easy to knit. With the sew faded pattern, you have to pick back up on your collar to knit your collar stitches. And I didn't want to do that. I just wanted the flax light pattern, you just start at the collar and you work all the way down. And I like this garter bump rows along the sleeve edge. The sew faded sweater has this whole part is garter bump rows, the whole sleeve edge, and I just like this better. It's just personal preference. So I kind of messed up the math a little bit and put a little too much Chelsea in. And so I'm now doing the hem and it's only going about another inch. So the evenness of the rows is not very, but I don't really care. I still really like it. And this purple is actually a little bit scratchy. So if it sits over her jeans at the bottom, it's not going to bother her. Hopefully it won't bother her at the cuffs on her sleeves. But I'm nearly done the bottom and then I'll be on Sleeve Island. And she was like, Mom, can it be done for school starting? And I was like, oh, that's pretty soon. But actually, I've got 3 weeks and I think it will be done. I think it will definitely be an FO for the next episode. I'm using my Knit Picks interchangeables on, this is 325 millimeters, and the body was worked in 375 millimeters. And I have some 375 DPNs that I'm going to use for the sleeves. And yeah, that should work out really well. What else do I have to show you? I don't know what I'm going to do with all my leftovers. Maybe you guys have some faded suggestions for leftovers, but these are all approximately 65 grams that I have left, and I'll probably have even more of the hedgehog one. So I need like some sort of mini fade projects. Maybe I'll do a shawl for myself or something. I am super jealous of her sweater, and I'm really upset with myself that I didn't knit it for me because selfish and because it's so pretty, and I just don't know if she's gonna love it like I do. I told her she basically has to wear it once a week for the rest of her life, and she kind of looked at me fairly horrified. So I'm just really hoping that she loves it and actually wears it, because often my daughter likes to like things but not actually like them. So yeah, we'll see what happens there. That's all for my works in progress. I can show you my yarn babies, except I already did. I really didn't do any yarn shopping this month since I was distracted by not really being able to knit and doing dyeing for my dyeing company, Boss Lady Yarn Company, and yeah, just busy with life. Haven't made it out to any stores, been doing good at staying off the internet and buying all the things. So that one skein of Cascade 220 was all I bought this month. That's a good month. I think I've earned my way to Knit City. But there's also Calgary Fiber Shindig in Calgary in October. I'm pretty sure it's October. And then there's also the Calgary Fiber Arts Fair in November. So there's 2 decent shows in Calgary that I can go to. They are not Knit City, but I could be satisfied with going to those Calgary shows. So maybe I'll get to go get some new yarns then and have new things to show you. In my queue, since I was getting excited about all the fade stuff, and I had showed you some yarns last episode that I was looking at fading, then Andrea Mowry, the author of the fade stuff, came out with a new mystery knit along. I've never done a mystery knit along before because usually I'm a bit apprehensive about the idea of knitting a pattern and using up valuable yarn on something that I don't know what I'm getting into, and I don't know if I'll like it in the end. But I do, besides the giant Find Your Fade, which I don't think I would, this is ironic, I don't think I would ever knit a giant Find Your Fade because I would lose interest and not finish it. So with that in mind, I decided to sign up for the mystery knit along, which is 6 skeins and hundreds of thousands of yardage. I can't explain myself. This is just the way I am. So I'm going to knit the fade. And I have some yarns picked out, but I'm not totally solid on them. There's a few that I'm like for sure going to use, and I've been really distracted. If you guys haven't heard of Barnyard Knits, everything that she makes I have to have it. Everything. I don't think there's a skein of yarn in her shop that I'm like, oh, all of them I'm like, oh, so pretty, so pretty. So anyways, she came up with some fade kits that I want so bad. But hundreds of dollars later, because you do the exchange to Canadian, which is crappy right now, plus shipping, and it ends up being like a very expensive project. When I already have yarn in my stash, I feel sort of like, should I do that? Probably not. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if by the end of August I've splurged and bought myself something. But for now, what I have to fade with are, I did some dyeing this summer and made an oopsie. I put fluorescent yellow into Chelsea instead of the regular yellow that I was supposed to put into her. Thus, a new colorway was born, and her name is Disco Chelsea. So, Disco Chelsea, this is Electric Parakeet of Long Dog Yarns. This is Cassata of Long Dog Yarns. This is a dye pot sock blank, which don't tell me I can't knit that into a shawl, because I will, which I think fades really well with the Cassata. There's a lot of similar colors and tones in there. And then there's this Vivid Yarn Studio, I forget the colorway name. I'll look it up afterwards and put it on the screen. And then Haven Fiber Arts Guilty Pleasure. So I put a picture, if you want to see a picture of them all together, I put a picture up on my Instagram at WoollyJetty. And I kind of dig it. It's not perfect yet. It's not pro-curated, all from the same dyer, they all fade so beautifully type. But I don't know. I think it'll be fun. It's 6 skeins. We'll see. I might change my mind. This one I'm on the fence about. I would love if I could find something that's like basically Electric Parakeet, but a little bit less so. But I do like the yellow, and some of these sort of greeny aqua tones are in the Electric Parakeet, so it does fade well, I think. I don't know. We'll see. So that's in my queue for when that starts. And I've been in the mood to cast on all the sweaters. So I'm doing this sweater vest, and I've been looking at other sweater patterns that I want to do, and participating in a summer sweater knit along with Shannon Cook of Very Shannon. And I participated in the chatter thread on Ravelry, and I won some patterns from her. So I was so excited because I love her designs. Her Broadway wrap was pretty much the first shawl I knit, I think. Anyways, I love that pattern. I love her design, so I was really excited. So I got to have 3 free patterns. So I picked the Fair, F-E-Y-R-E, Fair. I think that's how you say that. And the Veronica, her newest release, the cardigan, and a hat. Can't remember what it's called. So I really want to cast on that Veronica cardigan, and I would really love to knit it in the Brooklyn tweed. I think it's Arbor is the worsted weight. And they have this beautiful mustardy yellow that kind of borders on chartreuse, but is not quite there, and it's so pretty. I just love that color. And today when I was at Pam's, I found that Cascade 220 also has a really similar color, and both are the right weight for the Veronica pattern. So if I can't make it down to Calgary to visit Stash Needle Art Lounge, they are a really cool, hip yarn shop in Calgary, and they just moved locations to a bigger location, so they have a bigger stock, and I've really been wanting to go down and visit. So, and one of my best friends lives in Calgary, and now my sister-in-law and my brother-in-law also live in Calgary, so I have lots of excuses to go. So I'm hoping to go and maybe pick up some Brooklyn tweed for the Veronica sweater, but if it doesn't work out, then I think I'll just use the Cascade 220 from Pam's Woolly Shop out in Stony Plain, where I was today. After knitting this flax light, I've been wanting to do a flax worsted weight, and my friend Lisa and my dyeing partner, we have been talking about casting on all the sweaters, and she knit a pattern for, I can't remember the name of it now, for her 3-year-old at the time, now 4-year-old. And she's been talking about wanting to knit the same pattern for her 2 older girls, and how cute it would be in Christmas photos, because she's also knit a sweater already for her 2-year-old little boy, to have pictures of all of them in their hand knit sweaters for their Christmas photo. And we've been laughing, and she sent me all these hilarious awkward family photos with them all wearing the same outfits and stuff. And so I've been sort of scheming nerdily in my head that it would be really fun to knit a flax sweater for everyone in our family and take family photos in our nerdy matching sweaters and be the awkward family photo probably now, but maybe like years from now when it's even more nerdy. It's probably nerdy enough now, though. My 14-year-old would probably refuse to wear it. Let's be honest. And really, I'm going to get 6 sweaters done by Christmas. It's called a queue for a reason. Things just go in the lineup, and when I get around to it, I'll get around to it. Maybe like Christmas of 2020, everyone will have sweaters that would have fit them like 2 or 3 years ago. That's what will happen. The next item in my queue is some socks for me. I don't know if other indie dyers have this problem, but I tend to dye things and think, oh, that's really pretty, I'm going to put it in the shop. And then I put it in the shop and I stare at it for a while and I'm like, I want that. So this sock blank, which I named Billie Jean, we are calling these our blank space sock blanks. And yeah, I just really love it. So I already dyed myself a little mini. It's currently drying in this navy blue kind of color. And I'm going to cast on socks tomorrow. I'm going to be at the Ukrainian village out east of Edmonton. We have some of our Boss Lady yarns on consignment in their gift shop. And so that we were asked to come out and knit and sort of promote the sale of yarn there. Talk to people, so I'm going to cast that on at the village tomorrow and work on some socks out there. I think I'm going to do 2 at a time socks, toe up as usual, and I will be doing them on my 2.25 ChiaoGoo needles that I have. So that will be getting cast on tomorrow. I'm really pumped to be hosting my first ever knit along. We are going to be knitting together for the fall a DK or worsted weight shawl. It can be a shawl of your choice, colors of your choice, anything you want to work is fine. Hopefully we'll all have some fun knitting together. I'm going to open up a thread for it on my Ravelry group. There'll be a thread for chatter and works in progress and ideas and all of that, and then there will be a separate thread for finished objects. There will be prizes. There will be fun to be had. If you look on the groups tab at the top, there is some different tabs at the top of the group tab, and one of them is bundles. And in that bundle, I've put in a whole bunch of different patterns that I would suggest. I put a few crochet patterns if there's any crocheters out there that want to participate, because it doesn't have to be a knit along, it can be a crochet along also. And I suggested some different patterns, and so the idea was born out of the Kettle Valley pattern and the Kettle Valley yarns that I did. So I hope that lots of you will be knitting a Kettle Valley shawl for your participation in the knit along. They also have another DK worsted weight shawl called Kazugai, and it can be knit solid color, 3 different colors with borders and edgings. It's a beautiful option. And I just included a bunch of other designers in there as well. I am still undecided about what I'm going to knit for the knit along since I've already done my Kettle Valley. I'm either going to do another Kettle Valley and commit to keeping that one myself, or I might do I wrote it down. Ramble by Andrea Mowry. It's this beautiful triangular shaped shawl, and it's got a garter panel, and then it's got a brioche panel in a herringbone stitch. It's gorgeous, and I would really like to do maybe navy with Nail Tech's File, which is this super soft light gray. And so I'm thinking I might dye myself up a navy and do navy and gray. I'm really on a navy kick right now, and I think it'll be just nice and neutral to wear with any kind of top. It'll be kind of go with everything, and that high contrast looks really good in that ramble pattern. My other idea was to knit the Kazugai pattern. I have knitted, I was actually one of their test knitters, but I had given that one to Lisa for her birthday and never knit one for myself. So I was kind of thinking I could knit it with these mulberry yarns that I showed last episode that I had got in Kelowna, or find another. There's a few other patterns that are really gorgeous one color shawls that I could knit with that. So I'm still undecided what I'm going to make for that knit along, but it's going to start August 28th, and I'll give you 7 weeks to work on it. So it will be done October 16th, and so the only conditions are it can be a work in progress. If you have something languishing on the needles that you need motivation to get done, go ahead and join in. As it just has to be done by September 16th, and your photo October 16th, and your photo posted in the Ravelry group to qualify for the prizes. So I figured September can be a bit of a busy month for a lot of people, especially if you have a family and you're doing back to school routines and just trying to get into the swing of things. So I gave those few extra weeks in October to give you some extra time to finish. So I don't have prizes just yet. I have a few ideas in mind, and I'm hoping to track down a few makers and ask for prizes, please. If you're a maker and you would like to donate a prize, I would love to receive that prize and give it away for you and advertise for you and talk about you, whatever it is you do. If you make bags or stitch markers or yarn or whatever it is you make. Don't think just because I have a dyeing company means you can't send me yarn. I love all yarn. All yarn belongs. So yeah, let me know if you have something you would love for me to give away. I would love to do that. I also will have some Knox Mountain pattern prizes. They're sending me a few more patterns in the mail. So I'm going to have a few more things that I'll be able to give away from them as well. And yeah, I hope that you'll knit along with me. I think it's going to be really fun. We'll come up with some fun hashtag and share and talk on Instagram as well as on the Ravelry group, and it should be a good time. Lastly, I wanted to share with you a little Boss Lady update. I spent a big day of dyeing yesterday. Dyed the most yarn at one time I have dyed at one time to date, which was really exciting, and I got it all skeined up this evening, and I have a new colorway to show you. So I have 2 new colorways. I did a solid color in the Director's DK, and we'll see if it'll show up in color on the screen very well because I'm finding it to be extremely difficult to photograph. It's pretty close. So we called this one Lab Gloves. I was really struggling to find a name for these, but I had looked up a few different things, and I found many pictures actually, in many different professions of people using gloves that are pretty much the same color as these. So this is just sort of a tonal ocean blue, and yeah, did that one. Those are going out to the village tomorrow. So if you're local and you want some DK yarn, you can buy those from me on my Etsy shop, or you can head out to the Ukrainian village and buy them there as well. And then I did a new fingering colorway, and her name is Kimberly, and there she is. So she has pops of fluorescent pink, a very blue-green, rich blue-green color, and then tons of navy speckles on like a really light gray base, and then a little bit of gold speckles in there for fanciness because gold is fun. Here you can see it under the wrap right there. Peekaboo, gold speckles. So Kimberly is also going out to the village, but she'll also be available. I'm going to photograph her before she goes tomorrow, and she'll be available in the shop as well. And yeah, this is the episode of And Yaz. Yeah. And then I had a few Kettle Valley orders, so I dyed up some more Sasha, which totally gets blown out on this screen. It's a much richer yellow. And some more of our grays, the Mechanics Wrench and Nail Tech File, which I've already shown you on this episode. And those are all in DK. We've been having great reviews out at the Ukrainian Village. As I said, Lisa and I are going to go out there and sit and knit and talk to people tomorrow. And they also sell some hand-turned yarn bowls out there and some shawl pins and stuff. So they kind of have their own little mini yarn shop going out there, which is kind of fun to be a part of. And I'm going to take out some of the DK yarn that I have going out there. And oh, also these sock blanks. So like I had said, this one, which is called Billie Jean, is staying at home with me because I can't bear to part with her. And this one is called Roxanne and will be going out in an order with one of the Kettle Valley kits. And I have a few more blank sock blanks to dye up, so you can stay tuned. Favorite our Etsy shop if you're interested in. I think that way you get a notification when I post something new into the Etsy shop, or you can follow me on Instagram as well, Boss Lady Yarn Co. on Instagram, and we'll be posting when we add anything to the shop as well. Thanks for watching. This was a bit of a shorter episode, I think, than the last few, so I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you got through it. I got through it, so yay me. And I'll see you again in about a month. Signing off.
Life's got a purpose, every road's got a reason. Here's a little advice, I know it's worth believing. Maybe you're gonna be okay, you're gonna make it someday.